Jason, I saw a few things. What did you enjoy? Or what made an impact?
There's a few, but I just don't recall the names of some of them. And you could probably help me out.
Yeah.
Searching for Sunny.
Yep.
Was a good one. I know it was a favorite of yours.
It was a big favorite of mine.
It was good. It was what I really enjoyed about it was that you could tell that it was independent, but at the same time it was very connectable.
Yeah.
Like it was just very
it didn't feel
mainstream,
like,
but not mainstream.
Exactly.
It was just that nice happy medium that some movies actually have found a space. It's almost like it's almost like its own genre or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just this movie that like not everyone's gonna like, but enough people will like.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought it was fun in honestly almost relatable kind of way. Like I believed it, although I know I wasn't supposed to. That's kind of to get back to what I was talking about earlier. It was just so scattered, and then it seems like it just gets sillier and sillier and sillier, but you're still connecting to it, which is it's like almost like a coming of age story in a sense, where these guys, going back to their high school reunion, and I'm one to never go to my high school reunions.
Yeah.
And I could tell that these guys didn't want to, and they just have to. They're just forced to figure out this mystery behind, where's this guy that this, one guy knew back in high school and what happened to him. And there's, it's like a detective. It is funny because it's just like that. It's almost, this is awful. And I know I shouldn't say this, but it's like American Pie meets like a noir detective film.
Yeah.
It's
a comedy noir.
Yeah. But it's like the smallest amount of American Pie you can imagine.
Yeah.
That's how much it has in there. But that just to kind of give you a sense of.
There's one character who kind of drives that aspect of it.
Yeah, but he's hilarious. Yeah. And believable, because I have friends that are like that. You know that I have friends like that, Andy. So it's just so out there, but it's just a really funny movie. I really enjoyed it. I'm so far away from some of these movies just because we did have the ability to see some of them early. What was the other one I saw? I have no idea. I have no idea. There was one, and I know I really enjoyed it, but I just can't think of what it was. I can't remember a single thing about it. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So weird. I don't know.
Okay.
I am useless in this case, and we knew that was going to happen. So it's not like I'm so sorry. Like we knew that I would just be pointless when it came to this. I was very sort of disappointed that sort of the scheduling, my personal schedule and the Indy Film Fest kind of collided. But obviously, when you're getting married, some things take priority over others, and
you probably won't do that next year.
No, this straight up Indie Film Fest.
Good, yeah.
Who cares about birthdays and anniversaries or anything like that?
Yeah. Another film I liked that I really saw, one of the few sort of foreign language films I saw, was called Woman in the Septic Tank. This film
was not the one I was thinking of.
No.
So we're good there.
Yeah. This film was so good. I recommend all of the film students that we know go see this movie. It's about these guys. I think it's maybe the Philippines, maybe. I don't know exactly where they were, but some sort of Southeast Asian sort of thing, Vietnam, somewhere in there. Vietnam, Philippines, Laos, somewhere in there. But it's about these filmmakers, and they're talking about their film. And it's a really like sort of dark, moody film. I won't say what it's about because it's not offensive, but it's dark.
Sure.
So it's they're talking about their film, and basically you're watching this film, and you're hearing the director narrate. It's like scene 5, blah 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 blah, and this is they're acting out the scene, and then it gets to the end of it, and he's like, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Oh well, let's change this and this and this," and they keep changing things, but then you're seeing what changes they're making. But the funny thing is, the great thing about this film, they're talking about this really dark sort of story about these really, oppressively poor people in this area. But at the same time, they're talking about like, we're going to get rich making this movie. And it's like they're walking around, they've got their laptops, they've got their iPhones, they're going to Starbucks and talking about, man, it's going to be great when we make this movie about these poor people. And it's like, we want this person to play this poor person because she looks more like a – and it's like the idea they have about what they're doing is so far removed from the actual lives of the people. Like, they clearly know nothing about the lives of these people. But it's amazing because they're so oblivious to the actual lives these people are leading, but they're trying to make a movie about it. And it really sort of talks about like, oh, but we have to make it like this because the festivals will like it better if we make it like this. The critics, we have to let the critics have to do this. And there's like this other guy that they know from the same area who just came back from like the Venice Film Festival, and so they're sort of like making backhanded comments on his Facebook page, and it's like they're so full of themselves. But it works like crazy. It works like crazy. And
is it like a mockumentary almost?
No.
Is it like a legit?
It's like a film, but like it's like the sort of what is happening to like. There's like there's like the aspect where they're sort of talking about the film, but then as they're talking about it, you see like scenes of the film.
So is it a real movie or
yes.
is it just?
Yes, it's a real movie. It's not a documentary or mockumentary or anything like that. It's not like you're following around and somebody's asking them, so what do you think your movie will be like? It's like they're like having production meetings.
Well, yeah, I get that sense, but so I could actually go see the movie that they made.
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking.
No, it's a fake movie.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so it is okay. That's what I was meaning by like mockumentary. Like it's just okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say that's kind of like it has to be a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Compared to what this one is, but okay, I see what you're saying.
But there's this amazing scene where they go see like one of the big actresses, the actress they want to play the part, and she's like a famous actress in this country, and she's like. She has all these changes, and she sort of does the version that she would do, and it's so totally different, but they're stuck because she's famous, and so they have to say yes, and oh, it's amazing. Yeah. It's a really, really great movie. Check it out, Woman in the Septic Tank. The other ones I want to talk about real quick, Video Stop, which we talked to the guy.
I remember the movie now, but go ahead.
Okay. Video Stop I liked a lot. It has there's room for improvement on this. Yeah. It's their second movie. There's a lot of good things about it, a lot of things that could be improved upon. The shots were pretty good. The script I thought was really good. The things I didn't like about it, some of the actors were sort of not quite there, but it's a really low budget movie. I think they made it for like $18,000 or something. So. You're not always going to get the best acting talent in there. The guy who played the main guy was actually a really good actor. So that helped it out a lot. And there was a lot of really good moments in it. There's a lot of really good characters. Just has like some room for improvement. But I think, I met the director. We interviewed the director, really cool guy. And I think, this is what he wants to do. So he's gonna make it better. So.
I can't remember the name of the movie. It was the movie about the low-budget movie theater.
Oh, Cinema 6.
Cinema 6.
Yeah.
I liked it. I know you didn't enjoy it as much as I did, at least maybe not at all. But I liked it. I thought it was funny. Along the same lines as I think I watched Searching for Sunny, and then I got to see Cinema 6 right after, I think. Is how I watched them. And I don't know. It's just something about it. It was relatable. I connected to it. Which is kind of a theme of this show. But I enjoyed it. And I don't know, because it was just so, it's depressing. It's just kind of depressing in this weird, funny way. But I found it to be entertaining for some reason. And I actually found it to be believable because I did sort of growing up in that sort of in between high school, college, or even in like college, I knew people who worked in movie theaters, and a lot of that stuff is legit. Stuff that happens. Like some of those people are the weirdest people in the world, and they're just weird, and they don't want to go anywhere in their lives. They're completely content working at these movie theaters, and it kind of explains some of the awful service you get at movie theaters because these people hate their lives so much that they just don't care about you.
Yeah,
and that is kind of the theme of the movie almost. Where it's just like these other characters are just like almost trying to push these other like a certain. Like one or two characters out, like you have to get away from this because I hate myself so much that you are just going to end up an awful person. Like, save yourself. I'll take the hit, and you get that sense. And I don't know, there was something about it that really touched a nerve with me in a good way. And I thought it was funny.
I watched it. I laughed a lot, but I didn't like the movie. Okay. Like, I think my problem with it was I didn't relate to the characters, and I really actively disliked the characters.
Sure.
And that's a big thing for me in movies. I have to like, especially in a movie like that where the characters are trying to accomplish something, I have to like want them to succeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't really care if these guys succeeded at the end of the movie. Yeah. So that was an issue for me.
I can understand that. Yeah. And I just immediately knew that these people weren't going anywhere. Like, I just knew for because I just know some people that are like this.
Yeah.
And it just made sense in my mind. So
yeah.
I liked it. That was the one I was thinking of, because I think we had just briefly had a conversation about it, and then for some reason I was just like, it was about a movie theater, and then
Video Stop and Cinema 6 are kind of in the same vein, and I think some people will like one more than the other. I personally think if you gave the Video Stop guys and Cinema 6 guys like the same resources, I think I would enjoy the movie the Video Stop guys made more. Okay. Than that. But Cinema 6 was very well made. A lot of laughs. I just felt like I just didn't really like the characters as much.
And you never really leave the cinema setting, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
Because they really could have tried to force you out a little bit. And they do a little bit towards the end, but in a way that makes sense. But yeah, like I think there's only one character that does anything. Really kind of learns their lesson or moves forward, which I think is kind of a ballsy move for a movie. It's just kind of like, because you're right, you deliberately don't like some of the characters, either because of the actors doing a good or bad job with the acting, which there's a little bit of acting in there, but without giving, I gave absolutely nothing away with that description, but I think maybe worth seeing if you've got an hour or two.
Sure. I'm looking at my list here. All I've got left are documentaries.
Somebody had to make up for him, because I'm the one that always watches the documentaries.
And I'm normally not drawn to documentaries. I usually look at documentaries and be like,
You've been on a documentary kick lately.
So I saw this movie called Girl Model, which was utterly devastating. I mean, I can barely describe how I felt walking out of this movie. I
think you just did.
Yeah. It's about
a girl model.
Girl models. That's exactly what it's about. It's about these 13 to 15-year-old girls that live in Russia or wherever, and they go to modeling agencies, and it's basically a meat market where they're like, her hips are too wide, her boobs aren't big enough, or her boobs are too big,
right.
And they're basically sent to various locations to do modeling shoots. And it sounds like this is the kind of thing that could turn into like child prostitution very quickly.
Sure.
It never goes there. They sort of say, well, these agencies are looking for models, and if they don't make it as models, maybe there's some other agencies that might do this other thing. We're not really about that. But these girls are never molested. They're never, sexualized or anything like that. But they're very clearly abused.
Yeah.
For instance, a 13-year-old girl from Russia, from Siberia, small town Siberia, basically, they put her on a plane by herself and send her to Tokyo and give her no other instructions. I mean, how do you think that's a good idea? And one of the other girls was she said she was lost for 4 hours in Tokyo, did not speak the language. I think she had like a phrase book. That was it. And these girls are told, you go to this country and you're guaranteed this many modeling jobs to pay this amount of money, and then you'll get paid, and then we'll see where it goes from there. One of the girls, the main girl they were following, didn't show up with very much money because she thought, I'll be working right away and I'll get paid.
Yeah.
She didn't get any modeling jobs. She didn't eat for like 2 days. The only thing that saved her really was the fact that her roommate his parents gave her a credit card, so she just ended up owing that girl money to pay for this. But the real kicker from this film is the model scout. This model scout is a woman named Ashley. She's American. So this is a woman who knows what modeling does to women because she was a model. She was a model when she was 18, went to Japan, hated it, said, I'm never going to do anything with modeling again, then becomes a model scout and is now sending girls into the exact thing that basically,
ruined her life, essentially.
Essentially ruined her life. I mean, you've got to watch this movie just to see how this woman kind of, views the world. I can't really describe it. She seems strange. Yeah. There's something off about her, something very off about her. So then there's scenes like these girls are like reading their own contracts while they're in Tokyo, and they see this note that says, look, if I gain a centimeter on my waist, they can fire me. And they immediately start eating everything they can find. Like, these girls hate the things that are happening to them, but they don't see a way out. And again, they're not molested. They're not, prostituted, but they're very clearly abused. And it's very difficult. I mean, there's so many shots of these little girls weeping and just crying their eyes out. And
sounds a little painful to watch.
It is.
But you're telling us that it's good, that we should see it.
It's so worth watching, but it's so devastating. There was another film. There was a little short film called Stan vs. Squirrel that I have to mention because I loved it. It's about this old guy who's just trying to feed birds and not squirrels. And he's finding out how impossible that is. So it's just about – it's like the scientific method. How can I – it's like he's going out and he's like, I'm going to try this time. And he's like doing the experiment. And every time he'll put a tray out that like he thinks on top of a pole and it's like there's no way they can get to that. And then a little title shows up on screen, less than 5 minutes later.
Sounds like my grandfather. And then he always did this.
See the squirrels climbing up. And I think squirrels are fascinating. I know that they can be extraordinary pests. I think they're fascinating. And these squirrels just would not give up. He tried everything, and finally, I think he found out that if he put this certain kind of grease on the pole, they couldn't actually climb up the pole. And so, but anyways, that one's really funny. That was a little short. And then my favorite documentary, my favorite film of the entire festival was this film called Order of Ecstasy, the Tetris Masters, and it's about people who play Tetris. And what's interesting about this one, it's not like some other sort of pseudo sports documentaries where it's like people have been doing this forever and ever and ever. And, they've always wanted to be a Tetris champion or Scrabble champion or Donkey Kong champion or whatever. It's like this is the story of the first Tetris Championship. So it's like this guy going out and finding all these people who are really great at Tetris and then putting them all in like putting them all in a tournament. And it's brilliant. I want to watch more people playing Tetris. If Tetris was on television right now, I would say, let's kill this. Let's go watch some Tetris.
Korea.
That might be.
I will say
might
that,
be true.
There are actual people that watch video games on television in Korea. There are people that watch people play StarCraft in Korea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it would not surprise me.
These guys were brilliant. And what I really loved about it, there was no villain.
Yeah.
Like, they were all like just getting together and like, we just love to play Tetris. Look at that guy. He's really, really good. I'm going to try to beat him. I don't know if I can. But if I don't, then that's okay because I know I'm still good at Tetris.
So it wasn't a tournament to the death.
No.
But that had made it better.
No. And what was interesting was, do you remember back in the day when they had the Nintendo World Championships? Mm-hmm. So the guy who is running the Tetris Championship was like third in the first ever Nintendo World Championships.
So he's bitter.
Sort of, yeah. But what's interesting is he has like this – he starts out talking about like these vague memories of the guy who won the championships, and his name was Thor. And he was like, man, this guy was so good at everything. Like, you could not beat him playing any of these games. And so for like the first half of the documentary, you're talking about like, yeah, maybe Thor will play. I don't know. Maybe we can get Thor to play. And just getting – and it just sort of strings this out. And just at the perfect time where you're like, all right, guys, I'm kind of – boom, there's Thor. It's like he shows up, and it's just so well edited and put together. And then they talk to this guy Thor because he basically like disappeared. Like all the people, like several of the people who were in that Nintendo World Championship, kind of kept in touch over the years, but not him. Like nobody really knew where he was or what he had done. And he starts telling his story, and it's like the most tragic thing you've ever heard. But just and that's what's great about the film, because everyone sort of has this reverence for this guy, because it's like he's the guy who he was the original guy who made Tetris like a thing. And so he's in this tournament as well, and it does a great job of explaining not only – like we all know how to play Tetris, but it explains like what level these people are on. And it's like you get to level 29, and that's what they call the kill screen, because the pieces start coming down so fast you can't actually do anything with them. And everyone's sort of talking about like, I don't think level 30 exists. Like why would they make it? Because you can't get there. And this guy Thor, like everyone else is like, oh, I've never seen level 30. Like no one's seen level 30. And Thor's like, oh yeah, I've seen it. and people say that, it's like, yeah, I don't think he actually did. And it's just brilliant. And then, at the end of the film, you see his attempt to get to level 30. And because that's a big part of like video game stuff, you have to like videotape it. You can't put a tape in your VCR and record it. You have to actually record the screen from an angle so people can see you're actually playing the game. But it's just so amazing. It's so well put together. It's in my top 5 documentaries of all time. It's amazing. Order of Ecstasy, Tetris Masters, brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Love it. That was my favorite film of the fest by far. So I think that's it for me, at least. Yeah. Sarah, anything else you saw that you really liked or wanted to talk about?
I saw Billy and Theodore.
Okay.
I had a couple problems with it.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, there was a really bad moment though, like really broke you from reality. Like you're not. I don't think it can recover now.
Yeah.
But it had some funny. It had its moments. It was good.
Yeah. Cool.
It's worth a watch.
Worth a watch.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, let's get out of here. 2012 Indy Film Fest in the books. Yeah. Thank you to Lisa Trifone for hooking us up with some screeners and
that is helpful.
Helping us do an episode before the fest to talk about the films, and all the volunteers. A lot of people are involved with that. Not just Lisa; she doesn't do it all by herself, though. I'm sure sometimes it seems that way.
Volunteer, like
all volunteers. No one gets paid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They are there the whole time.
They are there the whole time.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we'll get out of here. Sarah, thanks for sitting down with us.
Yeah,
I hope you enjoyed going to the festival.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Cool. So we'll get out of here. I'm Andy.
I'm Jason.
This has been, and always will be, A Place for Film. A Place for Film is recorded at WFIU Studios in Bloomington, Indiana.